2, 3, 4, and I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Yes, I am now. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. One life in which to make a difference. One day where I can make my start. One love to share with all the planet. One chance to follow my heart. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Yes, I am now. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. One heart without condition. One mind to clearly make my choice. One soul connecting with all others. One song, one people, one voice. Why? Because I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Yes, I am now. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Every morning when I look out my window, the sun is shining over my day. Even though I may not see it, it's still shining on every way. This is the key change, cause I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Oh, I gotta remember it's the key change. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life.
Well, thank you, Gary, so much. It's a chilly day today. I don't know if it's pumpkin season or what season we're at, but it's like, oh, I had a nice dress, and I thought, oh, it's not July 10th. It is early November feeling. So thank you guys for being here today. Welcome to the Wasatch Spiritual Center. My name is Lanna Cairns. I'm the Community Spiritual Director here. So lovely to see everyone always, to talk about these amazing teachings, to share with you just how powerful they really are. So our faith is called religious science, and I think I'm preaching to the choir. I think we already know this. And our teachings are, so our faith is religious science. Our teaching is called the science of mind. And it's been around, it'll be 100 years this coming February. And Ricky Byers, there's a 90% chance will be coming to celebrate with us. So her good friend is my ministerial friend. So get ready, Gary. Gary can finally sit down and enjoy the show and not have to always be so actively involved. So yay! So our teachings are really about allowing that presence of that one life to lead and guide us in all we do. And today I'm going to talk about the power of faith and how we interpret that as religious scientists. So this teaching, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, really looked through all the religious traditions. It's almost like he took a golden thread through all of them and really decided that it is a mystical interpretation, knowing that that one life, that one power, that one presence lives within us at all times, always moving, always wanting a deeper, greater expression of itself through us. So he says that there's a power greater than us that we get to use, and that's always available. So really quite remarkable that someone in the 1930s had this insight of what these teachings really are. So we come on these beautiful chilly Sundays with flowers. Thank you, Jamie and her wife, Kelly, for bringing these beautiful flowers. Everyone can take some home. Tulips, roses, mixed flowers, sign-up sheets in the back. But we come here on Sundays just to be in community. This is our Sangha. And we have a lot of people traveling. A lot of people are on cruises, camping, bike riding. But I just love to see everyone and to really press upon who we are in this community of like-minded people. So it's always a very special time. And we have Brian today doing everything. Joanne's sick today, so Brian is the one-man band in the back. So we're all working and making it wonderful for all of you. So you should know that Carol Harris arrives a little bit earlier, and she blesses every chair. So that's an important spiritual practice for us. She blesses and holds the vision and the light of the truth of who you are on these chairs. We also have a prayer box in the back. So last week we had several prayers. So I prayed on them, another practitioner did. So please feel free to use that, because for us it's really why we're here, changing our thinking to change our life, to better our futures. And we do this really in a conscious way of having this prayer. So I welcome you everyone today here. So lovely. It is such a beautiful day. And I just want to call upon my dear, dear friend. I started a women's spiritual group about 10 years ago, and Carrie, her mom, Missy, the dog, Jinxie, we had a whole group. Carol was part of that, but it was a beautiful experience that we had together. So I asked this wonderful person, Carrie Jolly, who has manifested a beautiful life, who is a beautiful person. She was former board president. She, I think, almost there in training, even though I think, her brother was a practitioner, her mother was is emeritus practitioner. So she's a dear friend, a sister from another mother, but she's going to do her sacred share today, as well as our reading, brief meditation, and our beautiful prayer. So welcome to the stage, Carrie Jolly. Thank you, Carrie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So my journey started, as Lanna explained. My entire family has been part of this for many, many years. And I was actually living in New York at the time they found the Church of Religious Science. It was my brother who first became aware of, it was Kathy Ann. I was the minister at this time, and she later moved to Seattle. But he went to her service and just fell in love with the message it had to say. He also talked to my mom, and she went to a service with him, my mom and my dad, and they fell in love with it. When my parents first started talking to me about this, I thought, what in the heck has happened to my parents? And what kind of Kool-Aid are they drinking? And I need to get this fixed, because I could not believe some of the things that they were saying and what they were participating in. So it was probably a year later, I came to Salt Lake for just a little vacation, see the family, and I went to church with them because I wanted to see what it was about. And I heard Kathy Ann, and I cried the entire time. I wasn't even sure why I was crying, but I just knew that something felt like it was missing, and I had somehow found it, but I didn't even know what the it was yet. I went back to New York. My vacation was over, and it was many years before I came back to Salt Lake to live. And during that time in New York, I didn't attend any services. I didn't look into them. I wasn't part of it. But I would listen to my family, who at that time was, they were in prac classes, a lot of classes. As Lanna said, my brother, my sister, and my mom all became practitioners, spread over many years. But I still was not involved. When I moved back, I started coming to church with them, and again, for the first month, I would just sit in the back and cry, and cry, and cry, because it opened me up in a way I never knew was closed. I didn't know it was missing. I didn't know how good spirituality could feel. I'd always had a kind of a negative connotation of religion, which is very different from spirituality that I came to find. I didn't know that at the time. So the more I attended, the more I felt at home, and the more I felt my life change. While the circumstances, the outside pieces didn't change, they all remained the same. It was me that changed. It was my thoughts that changed. It was my perception of what I was seeing and experiencing life that changed. And I was so grateful for that, because as my thoughts changed and my view of my life changed, my life did start changing in all these amazing ways that were better and stronger and more connected and more part of feeling good. I would just wake up in the morning and feel good because life felt good. Life just felt good. And it brought me to where I have taken so many classes, and I've taken many classes over and over again. And each time I take a class, I learn more. Even if I've had it before, I've learned more and became more in touch with myself and more in touch with the oneness and more in touch with community and more in touch with life. And that, to me, is one of the greatest gifts my parents have actually given me by introducing me to this Kool-Aid drinking, new thought craziness that has absolutely made my life joyful, absolutely joyful. And every time I feel that joy, I'm able to experience a greater gift. And I also know that when I try to wrestle it back, and me be the controller, I get a little spanking because it doesn't feel so good, right? I'm one of those people that have always tried to be the controller, asking the questions, always doing those things. And when I bring that back, my life doesn't go as good. I struggle. You know, I have a job that I've had for over 30 years, and I've done so many different things within this company, but I start not liking it when I'm trying to control the scenario. And so what do? I have to go back and stop and listen and read a passage or listen to one of Lanna's services or join the women's group. And I'm able to relax into what is really taught here, and that's that it's already here, it's already within me. I just have to accept it and open up and see where it takes me. And wherever it takes me is always better than where I was before. Wow. And when I try to make the destination, that's always a rocky road. So just believing and having that faith that Lanna talked about is the place that makes my life so good. So thank you for listening to that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Today, I'm going to be reading out of The Science of Mind. And this is, I think, my second or third copy, because I go through this thing like crazy. And it's really, I had talked about taking classes more than one time, and I use this book a lot. And it's one of the first books I think I bought with the science of, or through taking the classes and with the science of mind, and it always has something to say to me. So today's reading is chapter 10, and it's on faith. Excuse me. Faith has been recognized as a power throughout the ages, whether it be faith in God, faith in one's fellow man, in oneself, or in what one is doing. The idea that faith has only to do with religious experience is a mistake. Faith is a faculty of the mind that finds its highest expression in the religious attitude, but always the man who has faith in his own ability accomplishes far more than the one who has no confidence. No confidence in himself. Those who have great faith have great power. Why is it that one man's prayers are answered while another's remain unanswered? It cannot be that God desires more good for one person than another. It must be that all persons, in their approach to reality, receive results not because of what they believe in, but because of their belief. Faith is an affirmative mental approach to reality. The fear of lack is nothing more than belief that God does not and will not supply us with whatever we need. The fear of loss of health, loss of friends, loss of property, all arise from the belief that God is not all that we claim. But what is fear? Nothing more nor less than the negative use of faith. Faith misplaced, a belief in two powers instead of one. To correct all the evils of the world would be but to have the positive faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The thought of faith molds the indifferentiated substance and brings into manifestation the thing which was fashioned in the mind. I'd like to breathe that in for just a minute and see how that feels to you. And so recognizing that there is one perfect universe, perfect source, perfect supply, that is the creator of all, is the creator of all the beauty that we see, is the creator of the different weathers we experience, is the creator of the universe. And each tiny molecule that goes into the form that it takes as a flower, as a tree, as me, as you, it is the one energy that flows through all. It is always flowing, it is always present, it is always available, and it is always perfect. And that perfection that is in all and is as all is in me, as it is in you. I live it, I am it, I breathe it, I experience it, and I put it out into the world as me, as the one power, as the one source. I am part of that. I am one with it. I am it, and it is me. And as I know this for myself, I know the truth of this. I have the faith that this is what lifts my life to unbelievable heights, to immense joy, to a daily beauty that I get to experience and live and enjoy every moment of every day. And I know this for myself, and I know this for you. This oneness, this connection, this beauty is always, always with me. And I know that as I inhale, and I hold that to myself, and I believe in this energy, in this oneness, in this connection, in this perfection, knowing that it is for all, that is for everyone. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for the energy and the law that always says yes. Whatever I believe and have faith in is how my life will be. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to know it. I'm grateful to experience. I'm so grateful for all that it brings to me. And I know this is so And I release this knowing that it is the truth. It is the truth for all, for everything. And so it is.
And so it is.
Speaking of faith, all of us, speaking of faith, I'm used to performing in a certain way, and I did practice, right? But since my sequencer went down, I let it freak me out really badly. And I realized as you were doing your presentation that I am also a control freak when it comes to musically. And so when it changes, my mind explodes. But I'm going to slip back into a trusting mode and do a song completely differently than what I thought I was going to do. So hang in there with me as I look for it right now. Every day we have the opportunity to move into that mode of peace, which goes with faith. And no matter how it turns out, it may not be perfect, but if you have the faith, it will come out beautifully. Have you ever stood amidst the rain and somehow felt the whole world's pain and think that you just might be insane because you were open enough to feel? Have you ever stood in the light of day and have people blindly pass your way? So consumed in their own day that your smile is invisible to their eyes. Oh, how do you catch the moonlight? How do you touch the sun? How do you sense the knowing in the heart of everyone? How do you turn a river? How do you calm the sea? How do you paint a rainbow? Create life forever free. Have you ever raised your voice to speak and found your words were so incomplete? Wish that you could run out into the street and cry out the top of your lungs. Have you ever raised your hands to celebrate and found the same when sings your faith? Wishing you could do something great, create a diamond from the core. Oh, how do you touch the sun? How do you sense the knowing in the heart of everyone? just passing by, and realize that you and I are as free as one of these. Have you ever caught a snowflake on your tongue and known that there was only one in that shape and figure done all individually? Oh, every day we catch the moonlight, every day we touch the sun, every day we sense the knowing in the heart of everyone. Every day we turn the river, every day we comb the sea, every day we paint a rainbow, create life forever free. Oh, every day we catch the moonlight, every day we touch the sun, every day we sense the knowing in the heart of everyone. Every day we turn our river, every day we to see, every day we paint a rainbow, create life forever free. Every day.
Well, first, I just want to say how incredible the talent is in this room. Your beautiful share, your beautiful prayer, your beautiful insight. I'm just so deeply grateful. You are a spiritual sister, so thank you for everything. And that song that Gary played is one of my favorite songs of his. So how nice to be bookend by such great talent and such great wisdom. So really beautiful. Thank you guys so much. So today I'm going to talk about faith and how is it that we as science of minders, as religious scientists, interpret faith. And our founder says, he says, faith is a mental attitude so inwardly embodied that the mind can no longer deny it. So for many traditions, faith is something we cannot prove, something we hope in, something we wish to happen, but we really don't know if it will or not. For us as religious scientists, it is a spiritual conviction rooted in the nature of reality itself. So for us, faith isn't passive hope. It's not a denial of our circumstances. It's not pretending things are better than they are. Faith for us is a deep inner knowing of this presence of these spiritual practices leading and guiding our lives. And we believe that the presence of the One responds to our consciousness. How is it that we think? How is it that we're so open to these teachings? Do we let it lead and guide our lives? So for us, faith then becomes our willingness to trust in these invisible spiritual laws, even before we see them manifesting in our lives. Even before they come into fruition, we have faith knowing that, number one, God, the impetus of spirit, is always good, always loving, always wanting us to win. And then we align our mind to that knowing and practice that presence. Things shift and change so deeply in our lives. So faith for us is not wishing, it's an embodiment. It's something that becomes so true within us that fear or worry or anxiousness loses all authority of how we think, how we move, and how we behave. So for us, faith in science of mind isn't a blind belief. It is a spiritual perception and a spiritual practice. Holmes said that we use it all the time. And I was thinking, coming here today, even when I press my button on my car to start it, thank God I can never find my keys anyways, but when I press that button, I know it's going to start. I know when I come here today and I press the button for the lights go on. So we're always believing in something. We're always manifesting something that we think is our truth. So Ernest Holmes says, where are we placing our consciousness? In limitation, in lack, in fear, in worry, in old stories? Or are we placing faith in the presence of spirit that guides and lives in our lives? So a couple weeks ago, I got an email that was quite unnerving, quite shocking. And my husband luckily was home. But I sat with this and I said to myself, this is not my truth. That this is something bigger, deeper, more alive is coming through this expression. But this is practicing things for 30 years, being a practitioner for 20 years, that you can so easily spin out with a wrong diagnosis, going to your bank and checking account and seeing, troubles in that world, or not having good friendships or relationships. That these things can really, because they're physical, they're in your life. But we can either let that beguile us and trick us and move us, or we can step back and affirm our truth. So I am so grateful that I have this practice. And even my husband, when he came in, and he's a scientist, businessman, kind of hardcore, Mr. Bunsen Burner, or whatever, Bunsen burner from chemistry, he's that kind of guy. He said, Lanna, I think this is the best thing for you. And I go, oh, are you wanting to become a minister? Get back, stay in your lane, bro. Don't boss me around. But he said, this is the best thing for what you're developing into. So, you can either go one way or another depending on the situation. So faith for us during difficulty. Faith is great when things are working, but when they're not, when life falls apart, when there's illness, when there's grief, when there's death, when there's sadness, even global uncertainty, looking at the papers, reading those as honestly prayer requests, this is when your practice matters. What is your next thought that you go to heal that sense of separation? So science of mind, we don't ask to deny pain or worry or, suffering. For us, it's a real experience. But Ernest Holmes also taught that conditions are not the ultimate reality. He says something so beautiful. He said, principle is not bound by precedent. That's a huge thing. So something that appears to be true isn't the final story, the final chapter of what you're experiencing. Sometimes I think when we get these lessons in life, that are really kind of jarring, I think it's the universe, and I hate to say this, it's that spiritual 2x4. And I'm over that. I want to have a calligraphy poem on a feather blowing in my lap, saying, oh, go left, not right. But sometimes I call it the medieval spiritual 2x4 that has nails on one side, and it just whacks me going in this direction. Because you know why? Then I become awakened. Then I listen. Then it's like, oh, this is the direction I've been talking about for months. Or this is the trip I've been planning. And here we are finally doing it. Or this is the love in my life that is coming forth in me. Even I was thinking last week when Kelly was speaking that it took her 5 years to cultivate this relationship. It took her 5 years that she had faith, knowing as she was putting out her fishing rod, that rod was working, that it was bringing Jamie towards her. But she had faith in that. And then it works out in the highest and best for all of us, for both parties at the right time. But this is kind of how we work in the invisible. You know, we hold that light, that consciousness, until we see it take form. And if there's another form that we never thought of, it's moving you in your greatest good. So this is what we have faith in, that God is always good, that the impetus of spirit is one of love, of healing, of wholeness. And when we don't experience that, there's some lesson in that for us to learn. There's some realignment that we do to allow all that is come forth in our lives. So science of mind, the meaning for us in faith, allows us to stand in possibility when appearances say otherwise. It's almost as if we take one more breath, one more act of kindness, one more willingness to begin again. And I see faith as not being dramatic, even though I love those biblical movies you watched when you were a kid, Charlton Heston, and that's sometimes really, I was raised Catholic, that's sometimes how I do see God parting the waters, walking through chariots and whips and horses. No, not at all. But I believe it is in the quiet persistence of what we believe. So many years ago, about 20 years ago, I was in Georgia at a conference, and I was speaking at the National Association of Professional Organizers. I'm crazy efficient, little OCD-friendly lady, but I love order. So I was speaking at this conference. And even though I was living in Los Angeles, I was building my business up in Northern California. I love the winery world. I love Napa Valley. I could be mayor of Napa. I loved it. But I was still living in Los Angeles. And when I was in the South, and it was beautiful, beautiful Georgia, beautiful Charleston, Atlanta. We went to Athens, Georgia to see we're home of the B-52s and REM. So we made our pilgrimage to Athens, Georgia. And then we went into Savannah. And I love that book, is it The Midnight of the Garden of Good and Evil? That book is so mysterious. But while I was there, my girlfriend and I were having a dinner that night. And we were getting into our car, and we got robbed at gunpoint. And literally, when I was living in Los Angeles, I was taking this Krav Maga, this Israeli martial arts, which made you be a street fighter. They said, if you're ever shot at, just don't run in a straight line. So out of the 3 years I was studying, I could remember one thing. So I'm running with my little sandals, and I got caught, and he took my purse. And the moment when I looked at him, I said, I cannot believe I'm going to die over my purse. That's what it felt like. I thought, I can't believe my life came to this. And he let us be. And when I came back to LA, my parents were there. We moved me. My friend actually moved to San Francisco. I moved to Napa. And it was literally the greatest experience for me to move my life, because then it was part 2 or volume 7. So sometimes things shift in your life that you just don't get another chapter, but God said, here's a new volume of your life. So when I moved to Napa, the Napa church was amazing. I met my husband. I had girlfriends. I was part of so many different groups. I couldn't have done that in Los Angeles. I outgrew that. But did I have faith in that moment? No. But eventually the dots line up. Eventually everything makes sense. Even in the moment when there's lack of funds, lack of love, lack of health. It is all moving you forward to something greater that needs to be expressed. So in that moment, I knew this was going to be for my best. I knew I needed to move. I knew my parents were still able to help me move and move up. You know, my parents were amazing. And so, you know, in the middle of something, this is when faith is really a practice. Because you don't learn it when you're in turmoil or you're in a crisis. So we practice faith every day with our readings, our meditations, our visualizations, that we're always moving in this conversation in how we practice. This is why practicing for us is so deeply important. We practice with spiritual mind treatment, the way we pray. And because we are aligning ourselves with the spiritual truth. Holmes always says there is one life, that life is God, and that life is my life now. So we are always practicing faith. Faith in the spiritual reality of what is beneath what we experience. Holmes says that treatment is the act, the art, and the science of inducing thought within the mentality of the one treating. In other words, treatment, he says, changes consciousness first, and then later changes our experience. So when we treat, when we do something, and some people don't like it, some people think it's a lot of words, a lot of formulas, and I get it. But I like to start with gratitude, that I'm grateful for what this experience taught me a couple weeks ago. I am grateful that I can maneuver and have possibilities. I am grateful that I have so many people supporting me and loving on me. And then I recognize there's only one expressing as me, that I am unified, connected to that source gives and sustains my life. And then I realize in this moment that the best is yet to come. That Jamie said something so profound today about the mustard seeds, how we're planting so many mustard seeds of beauty, of wisdom, of kindness, of healing, of wholeness in this group today. I feel it every time I come here, that these little mustard seeds are being planted. So I realize in this moment that the Wasatch Spiritual Center is something that is going to heal and be an anchor for the Greater Salt Lake. I know that we have practitioners coming. I know that we have ministers coming. I know that I have a support team coming. I know most of them are already here. But I know this and believe this, and I realize this in this moment. And then I say, thank you, God, for the good, and I let it be. And when I let it be in these prayers, I literally know it's already done. Because we believe our words are powerful, that the consciousness that we give something shifts and changes our experience. So we don't hope in this teaching. Where hope says maybe things someday will improve, faith says even now, in spite of what I'm experiencing, Spirit is here, alive and well, and moving unobstructedly through me. Hope waits. Faith actually participates. Faith engages in what we're experiencing. Hope can fluctuate with circumstances, but for us, our faith is rooted in an eternal reality, that there's one life expressing itself through me in all that I do. So sometimes people think faith means never doubting, but many spiritual seekers experience doubt. The question is not whether doubt appears, but the question is whether doubt becomes our teacher or our master. So Ernest Holmes says, never limit your view of life by any past experiences. And what faith does is it allows us to remain available to the new and to the open, to the unseen, right? When I lived in Napa Valley, I was a practitioner, we had a beautiful prayer book. And we would have all the prayers that people wrote, and we would have a demonstration on the top right corner. And then if you turn the page, it would be the top left corner. And literally 99.99 prayers came into form eventually. Literally, we would check it off, and we would come like one of those, the Bible, like St. Peter and Paul walking through the church with our Bible. But we had this beautiful book that showed these prayers were manifested when there were prayer requests and there were difficulties. We affirm that we're not our disease, we're not our medical condition, that we're not our finances, we're not our lack of, say, impoverished relationships or love or whatever, that we are none of that. We are unbounded in all of this. Because if we are, and I know we are, that birthed from that source of the one that is never limited, that means we aren't as well. Because we are certainly, truly a child of God in all of this. When I was looking for a teacher in faith, I had to go to Jesus. And I still, being raised Catholic, he's still a big teacher for me. And Jesus Christ continually emphasized faith when he was experiencing such physical turmoil. And he says this one expression, he says, according to your faith, be it unto you. So in Science of Mind, again, it's a spiritual law that our consciousness shapes experience. And Jesus wasn't asking for people to believe harder or to do more, but he was truly awakening everyone to this divine nature. You know, when I took my ministerial exams, we talked about Christ consciousness. And it wasn't the man of Jesus of Nazareth, but it was what he embodied to perform his miracles. And he basically said, if I can do it, like Ernest Holmes said, so can you. But how deeply do you believe that is your possibility? So Ernest Holmes saw Jesus as the great way shower, one who understood unity with spirit. And I think sometimes our teachings, if we had to be anything, we would be a Christian mystic in a way. Because he says Jesus discovered the Christ in himself and proclaimed the same divinity in all of us. So faith is dependent on how much we are awakened to this truth. And when we begin to trust that something changes, we live from that spiritual center that allows all the good to flow within us. So the faith to grow, real faith requires change. It takes faith to forgive. It takes faith to release old identities. It takes faith to become larger than what we've been conditioned to receive. But every spiritual quest, and they're many, and they're quiet, and they're daily, comes in a whisper. Where do we align our mind to this? How much of it do we allow to show up in our lives and guide us? Ernest Holmes says the seed beneath the soil is faith. From the outside, it appears buried, but inwardly, life is always unfolding. So if consciousness helps shape experience, then this consciousness of that we're developing in faith creates a new world, creates a new experience for us. So faith, I believe, becomes the willingness to cooperate and walk hand in hand with the emergence of something greater. So how does faith look like in our community? I said, faith shared becomes courage multiplied. That when we see one another today, I am affirmed health. I affirm health. I affirm love. I affirm radiant well-beingness because I know this is your truth. And I know when we don't have a spiritual community, that's a challenge, you know, when you're not affirmed by your greatness of who you truly are. So this is the reason spiritual community matters. Not because we all believe in the same thing. There's so many faces of God, expressions of God, voices of God, colors of God, ways that God shows up. But because we agree to see the divine possibility in one another, you know. I was telling Gary yesterday my son had a state piano competition, and he didn't place. And there were 11 people. They were all so good. They were all winners. I was so nervous for them, like I was the mother for all these 11 kids. He played his piece well. It was 4 minutes, but the person who won played for a minute, but played it perfectly. So I knew there was strategy for next year. You play something simple, and you play it well. But when he got home, he said, you know, Mom, I had faith I was really going to, you know, take it on to another level. And I said, don't worry, you have your Chopin concert today, and that's going to show something into your life, into something that's even better. So sometimes things that don't turn out can paralyze us, you know, but it's how we respond and how we react to something that we think isn't going as we thought well planned out. So just know that Spirit and you walk hand in hand in the creation of your greatest truth and your greatest unfoldment. And God always walks with you in this journey, that you are never alone in this experience. So how do we practice faith? We have to cultivate it daily when life is going well. You know, I always say to someone that this is the reason why the Buddhists meditate in cemeteries, because this isn't a dress rehearsal. We don't get to press rewind and start 20 years ago, that your life is happening now. So it's practicing, it's feeling that in your morning. Sometimes I just envision that white light, that healing energy coming through my body before I get up in the morning. When I go to bed, I just say, thank you, God, for another day. But I like to bookend my days with that recognition of spirit. I don't have to sit on a cushion for 25 minutes. I can read a beautiful passage like Carrie did in Science of Mind textbook. Literally flip open any page. Any page is brilliant from Ernest Holmes. So to really situate yourself knowing this truth for you when life is going well. So we do it through prayer, meditation, service, visioning, compassion. And we believe that where faith grows, attention grows with it. So those two really work hand in hand. So perhaps today faith is calling us into something greater. Maybe faith in physical healing. Maybe faith in finding love again. Maybe faith in your creativity, in the photos you take, in the books you write, in the songs you sing. Faith in humanity, that's a biggie. That could be nonstop sometimes. Faith in your own soul's evolution. But having faith in the greatest truth being birthed through you. So I have faith in this center, knowing as we're planting these seeds that the greatest good is coming forth. Knowing that people come and go, creativity comes and goes, the weather comes and goes. But I keep anchored in this truth that healing is possible, and we do it greater and more effective in a community of like-minded people. Community matters, a sangha matters, just in support and love and caring for one another. You know, I had a prayer yesterday from someone in our community, and she said, I hope you have time. I said, I always have time. I always have time to pray. That means I don't have to do the dishes, clean my office, walk my dogs, make my bed. I always have time to pray. But it felt so good from my heart to just be of service in that way. You know, this is why I became a minister, knowing the highest and best for each of you, holding steadfast in this truth, knowing that these chairs are blessed, that there's a prayer box, that Jamie and Kelly go to get beautiful flowers for us whenever they beat the person who gets them before there. But we have these beautiful flowers to celebrate, that there's so much good in this sacred moment that it uplifts us today and for the rest of the week. So put simply, faith that you are not separated from the one. Faith that God is not far away but lives within. As Ernest Holmes says, that we live in a spiritual universe governed through thought and that is centered in God. So I'd like us to leave here today, and I'll close with a prayer, that we are not alone, that we are not disconnected, that we are not abandoned by our circumstances, you know, lack of love, lack of money, lack of health, because there is a presence, there is a wisdom, and there is a love that is so much greater than fear. And faith is our willingness to trust in that and have that lead our lives. So let's just close our eyes. And I'd like you to bring something that is spinning you out right now, whatever that is. Something that is challenging you, whether it's financial challenges, health challenges, relationship challenges, a belief in yourself, bringing forth healing in your lives. What is it that is stirring at your heart right now? So I'd like you to place that word on your heart. Mine is always peace. And I place that word on my heart as I recognize in this sacred moment that we all gather in this wintry May Sunday, that there is this presence, this power, this energetic vibration, this creative essence, this abundance, this wholeness that is so powerful that it shifts and changes in our lives. That we know you are not your diagnosis, that we know we are not our financial lack, that we know we are not our lack of love, because in this presence of the one whose essence is existing in all life forms all the time, it is all that and then some. So I know I am unified with that I am birthed from this magnificent source that we call spirit. That I know my thoughts, my words, my deeds, my actions, my wealth, my health are all from this one life. And as I breathe in this presence of healing, of peace, of joy, it leads me in this greater unknown. And so I realize for everyone here, that word, that wish, that desire, that they have faith in it taking form now or in the future, that essence of what they want is already moving towards them. Because this is how spirit works. That there's one power, one essence, always stirring us, always moving us in this greater truth. So I claim for everyone here abundance. I claim for everyone health. I claim for everyone peace of mind, peace in relationships, peace in the world. That this wholeness that I claim, I declare, is already taking form in all of our lives. And so I'm thankful I know this. I'm thankful I know this is the truth of who I am, of who we are. And as I place this heartfelt prayer into that one, into the servant, into the machine of God, it's already done. And I know this is the truth, that I have faith in these teachings, that I have faith in this wisdom, and I simply let it rest in this knowing. I let it be, and together with one heart, we simply say, and so it is. Namaste. So this is the time of our offering, and I think this will be my last week doing it because I think Jamie is getting ready to do the offering. Our treasurer, find a joke and take it away, Calgon. That's all I can say. So my husband gave me a joke today, and it's about Pope Leo, and I bet some of you have heard what has transpired with his finances. So a Chicago bank teller once hung up on Pope Leo, the first American pope, after he called from the Vatican to update his phone number on his account. One of his good friends recounted the story. Father Tom McCarthy, who has known Pope Leo for over 40 years, told the story at a gathering. And after Pope Leo answered all the standard security questions, his social security, his address, the Vatican, the bank teller was presented with a screen that said any changes to his account would have to be made in person. Would it matter to you if I told you I'm Pope Leo? He asked, according to McCarthy, after noting that he wouldn't be able to come in person to make these changes. The teller hung up on him. And McCarthy told the Times that the Pope did get his number changed after a different priest was able to get in touch with the bank's president. But could you imagine being known as the woman who hung up on the Pope? That's bad, that's right. So we have some wonderful, wonderful announcements. There's a lot going on right now, but today's announcement is this. This is our lovely Jamie who performs. Kelly, I'm trying to, lovely Kelly who performs in this Hilltop Gospel Choir. Look how beautiful that program. Amen, amen. I heard her sing on Friday, an hour and a half concert. It was the most beautiful music. It was, because when someone says they're part of a choir, I'm like, oh, it'd be like me saying I'm part of a choir, can't sing, but I like to sing. Everyone can sing like Tweety Bird. Their choir director, as Kelly said, is a savant, is literally another level of giftedness. The songs they sang were such a variety, but God is on our side. I could literally buy a CD of their songs, or MP3, wherever we're at with things, a record, and listen to their music. But it was so beautiful. I will become a devotee to the Hilltop Gospel Choir. So today it's at 5 p.m., United Methodist Church in Sandy. And that is their home church. But if you can attend it, there must have been a couple hundred people on Friday. It was the most beautiful, uplifting music, taking it to another level of God. I loved it. So thank you for sharing that with us. Also, in May 31st, we're going to be starting our Diksha, which is a beautiful experience that our board president, Donna, will be offering with her wife, Cindy. And Diksha is really transferring healing energy to one's participant. You feel something stirring within you that is so beautiful. So we're going to start that a half hour before service at 9:30, and it'll just be in the classroom around the corner. It is a beautiful experience. And then in the month when I get back from my vacation, my 2-week annual vacation, then we're going to start meditations at 9:30. So that'll be beautiful. Also, my mentor is a brilliant minister here, Reverend Nicole Murgis, and she's going to be speaking when I'm gone for those 2 Sundays. She's a healer. She's used to work for Centers for Spiritual Living for 10 years, was the director of their education. She now lives up in Brighton, and she will be giving those sermons, but she's also giving a workshop, and it's called Sanctuary in the Storm, Living the Presence Within. And it's $20, and it would be wonderful if you could come and support her. I think when we did our sacred language, we had about 8 people in the corner here, and there were snacks that got us through that. But if you can make it for that, that would be wonderful too. So that's all that's going on this week. But I welcome everybody always. Please bring a friend. We have so many flowers here always to give. And I'm just so grateful for everybody all the time. Thank you for uplifting me and for bringing such joy into my life. So thank you so much. And Gary, take it away. Thank you.
No, fact be, this woman speaks from her soul. It's not a bunch of words. She truly cares. And she trusts in the divine like no one I've ever met before. So we are incredibly fortunate to have you here to present. It's a divine opportunity. But until then, next time, love be with you. And we'll see if we can make this organ work. Oh yeah, we'll go gospel, girlfriend. Love be with you. Peace enfold you. Spirit lift you. Breathe it in. Truth come through you. Let love go through you. Let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. new life for you and me. Take the past and set us free. Share this blessing. Love be with you. Peace enfold you. Spirit lift you. Breathe it in. Truth come through you. Make good flow to you. Let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, yeah, love be with you. Yeah, love be with you. Love be with you. Peace enfold you. Let's bury you. Breathe it in. Truth come through you. Make good flow to you. Let joy renew you till we meet again. Can't hear you. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Love be with you. Feel free to mingle and chat and look at those beautiful flowers. If you've been thinking you're all that you got, don't feel alone anymore. 'Cause when we're together and you've got a lot, I am the river and you are the shore. And it goes on and on, watching the river run further and further from things we've done, leaving them one by one, and we have just begun. Watching the river run, listening, learning, and yearning to run, river run. Winding and swirling and dancing along, we pass by the old willow tree, where lovers caress as we sing them our song, rejoicing together as we reach the sea. And it goes on and on, watching the river run further and further from things done, leaving them one by one. And we have just begun, watching the river run, listening, learning, and yearning to run, river, run. So if you've been thinking you're out that you got, don't feel alone anymore. 'Cause when we're together, you know we've got a lot. 'Cause I am the river, you are the shore. And it goes on and on, watching the river run, further and further from things we've done, leaving them one by one. And we have just begun, watching the river run, listening, learning, and yearning, listening, learning, and yearning, listening, learning.